on KTLA back in the day. Anyway, Christy and Joe Horton, 9th anniversary, and Hugh Janus turning 10.
Welcome to the BJ Show. Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Come on, everybody. Let's lose control. Brad and John, they're the ones to follow. Yeah, ready for the ride. It's the BJ Show. BJ Show.
It is the BJ Show. This is Wednesday. What's the date again, John? Is it September 17th? Is that right, John?
Yeah, September, March. I think it's September, though. It's September 17th. I heard there's a prostate exam going on today from 4 to 6:30 at Dave Sinclair Ford. I don't remember where I heard that, though, Brad.
John, we'll talk about in the B block in Brad's Top 3. Okay, that is John Combest. He is a conservative Republican. My name is Brad Hildebrand. I'm an American.
You're better than me, Brad, because I'm just a Republican and you're an American.
John gets upset with me when the Charlie Kirk thing, for a minute of seriousness, the Charlie Kirk thing has had an impact on a lot of people, including me, and I've changed some of the things in my life because of this. Not that I have done anything radical, but I am just sort of sick and tired of well, you're a liberal, and I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, and I'm better than you because you like abortion and I don't.
There we go, Brad. There we go. Jim White just rolled over in his grave. Keep going, Brad.
Yeah.
I'm a conservative Republican. You're an American. You're better than me. Keep going.
No. I am not better than anyone. Matter of fact, I am luckily equal to some people, but better than none. How's that? Okay. Every single day of his life, that John Combest, that conservative Republican, puts together this list of all the important things you know about the state of Missouri. We sort of refer to it as the Drudge Report, at least the old-timey Drudge Report of the state of Missouri. And we bring in this gentleman right here. We have to bring him in from Norway, pull him out of a grave, dust him off. And, sir, what's your name again?
I'm Casey Kasem.
And we start off with...
In third place...
An opportunity for you to share your insights, your beliefs, and your values as an American, Brad, with the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. You share a lot of your education theories right here on the show every weekday morning between 7 and 8 a.m., Brad. And now you have the opportunity, thanks to Missouri DESE, to give feedback on what should be in their strategic plan. There was a headline today from the Jefferson City News Tribune that smartened me up to the story. So I did a little investigative digging of my own, and I found the DESE survey. Now, I haven't filled it out yet, Brad, but DESE says to give feedback on their strategic plan and to give input on what you think Missouri students should be learning. It only takes 10 minutes to fill out the survey. You have until 5 p.m. on Friday, September 26th, to give Dr. Carla Esslinger and the other folks at DESE your opinion. Now, Brad, as fair warning, you got a couple weeks to fill this survey out. And from here on out, after the 26th, if you start weighing in on education issues and you haven't filled out the survey, I'm going to nag you about it, Brad. And I'm going to say, Brad, if this issue was so important to you, if you're going to quote the 4-panel comic strip about how education hasn't changed in the last 100 years, I'm going to ask you why you didn't fill out the DESE survey. So September 26th is the deadline. You can go to DESE, DESE, .mo.gov and fill out the survey. I have it loaded on my page, Brad. And I don't know. I don't like to talk about things I'm going to do ahead of time. But you know what? Tomorrow, if I fill out the survey, I'll mention it tomorrow on the show, Brad.
John, I got news for you. I wrote the survey.
You did write the survey. Brad, I should have known. It was, as to quote a LinkedIn post that I saw this morning, here's 3 ways to tell if somebody uses AI. And then the LinkedIn post mentioned 2 things, which I was like, that's good. Here's 3 ways to tell if somebody uses AI and then doesn't check the work. I should have known, Brad. It said, do you start your days by listening to the Brad and Bronjon show? That's how I should have known you wrote it.
John's never going to live that down. Okay, question for you. What will happen? What will be the result of people filling out this survey?
I'll tell you exactly what it is, Brad. It's going to go in a binder right next to the MoDOT survey and study and commission that you took part in many years ago, Brad. It's going to sit in a binder. No, they're going to. Here's what they say, or here's what Dr. Carla Esslinger says. If I'm quoting educators, I shouldn't just use pronouns like they. Here's what Dr. Esslinger says. This is the first step in updating our priorities and a vital step in our efforts to support services to ensure quality education across the state for all our students. So, Brad, as I read that, I'm guessing that there's a panel of folks that will sit one day in a meeting room in Jeff City and say, what comments did we get that were spam? What comments were substantive? Which of the comments go in the area of math, culture, reading, cell phones, CRT, and DEI? And then they'll cull through those and then maybe include them in the plan, Brett.
And then Randy Weingartner will get a hold of the survey and go, this is all trash. The teachers don't need any help. Everything's just great the way they are. As a matter of fact, the whole problem is teachers need more money and time off. We should go to a 3-day school week.
Yeah, or maybe a 2-day, or my idea of doing the Sunday school model, where once a week, I went to Sunday school once a week, and I felt like I knew plenty about Ecclesiastes, Brad. And I'd like to congratulate you, because you have, according to this note from DESE, you were the only person, they announced this on September 27th, you were the only person to fill out a survey and mention Dave Ramsey.
You know, it's interesting. Dave Ramsey is in quite a few schools now. I don't know if you know this or not, but I find that sort of fascinating because I thought for sure when he started doing this thing years ago where he started selling his financial courses into the school system that there would be the people come out and say, Dave Ramsey's a Christian. He's always espousing Christian views. We can't have that in our school system. You know what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Hey, Randy Weingartner just called. She wants you to start substitute teaching in Orchard Farms, Brad.
That's the woman who said we shouldn't have the teachers go back in the classrooms because they're going to get COVID from the kids. And then she said she never said that. But that's a whole other story. Remember? Okay.
I do remember. Go
ready
ahead,
for
Brad.
number 2? Here we go.
Up a notch to number 2.
You mentioned at the outset of the show being a real American, a la Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. And you mentioned specifically Charlie Kirk. Well, Charlie Kirk has had an impact not just on the Brad Hildebrands of the world rebranding themselves as Americans, but also how higher education approaches high-profile speakers on campus. Claudette Riley down I-44 way at the Springfield News Leaders headline, in wake of Kirk killing, MSU tightens safety, reaffirms role as, quote, beacon of free speech. Now, Brad, technically this story is a good opportunity for Missouri State University and their president to talk about how they encourage free speech, they welcome free speech, they don't want to have an area where you're shutting down conservatives or liberals based on political views. But there's a better, an even better nugget in here. And it's, they say, the folks from Missouri State say, they don't want a Monday morning quarterback, in their words, what happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk. But they say, we have actually begun making changes to how we protect people on campus. And they pointed to less than 48 hours after Charlie Kirk's murder, Governor Kehoe was scheduled to attend an outdoor event on campus at Missouri State for a ceremonial bill signing and celebrating the addition of the Blunt Hall, the Roy Blunt Hall. The head of campus security for that event, which took place without incident, was heightened. And they said, we're going to be significantly more focused on roof access than we were before. So this seems pretty common sense. And if you look at, again, it's really easy to play Monday morning quarterback. But if you look at what happened in Utah, how do these people, Brad, whether you're in Utah or whether you're in Pennsylvania, how do these folks just get up on the roof and you have nobody notice that they're camped out and perched up on a roof?
Well,
anyway, Go ahead, Brad.
No, the interesting thing was they showed how the guy got on the roof in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. He climbed up there was a low spot of the roof, and he climbed up like a drain pipe or something like that. But the interesting part of the situation in Utah is that there's video of him jumping off the roof, and it's about a 15, 20-foot drop, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I mean, he could have broken a leg or something like that.
I couldn't believe, I'm sorry to interrupt, Brad, but I watched the same video. I couldn't believe he wasn't injured when I saw him take that fall. I thought the exact same thing. How do you not, at minimum, sprain an ankle?
Right, and not only that, how did he get up on that roof? If he jumps off the roof, there had to be some kind of, I mean, they've never said anything about how he's gotten on the roof, and to the point where, like you, I'm glad to hear you had the same reaction I did. I thought to myself, holy cow, how come he didn't break his leg jumping off the roof like that?
Yeah, it's really surprising. And I don't mean to get us off track, but you hear so many rumors after something like this happens and people claim to have evidence. Well, I saw what prosecutors say are the actual text messages between him and his boyfriend or the transgender guy, whatever it was. And he seemed to be, alleged shooter, seemed to be brazen about the fact that he was texting his boyfriend, essentially bragging about committing this atrocity, and then saying to his boyfriend, hey, make sure you delete these messages, as if the messages were just going to disappear into the ether.
And have you seen this clip of the ABC News reporter? Have you seen this, the ABC Network News reporter?
I don't think so. What happened?
The ABC Network News reporter who was reporting from Utah yesterday after they gave the charges and they outlined some of these text messages. He got very emotional, and they had a very intimate conversation. They were just like two friends. I'm going like, dude, he killed somebody, and you're talking about how the killer had an intimate text relationship with a dude who's trying to be a dudette. I mean, I don't get how you can say, oh, it's so touching. He's talking like it would be like some guy saying, who's going off to war to his girlfriend, I may never see you again. I miss you forever.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt, Brad, but I saw the transcript of that. I didn't watch the video, but I saw a pull quote on social media where the ABC guy essentially says, it's frankly surprisingly intimate conversation.
Yes.
Again, like you said, Brad, like we're supposed to cheer this man up.
Yes.
Oh, he was being so vulnerable about his murder.
Yes, and he was talking to his lover, and that's what everybody now says they are. He was talking to his lover and I'm thinking, okay, these people are just sick and demented. I'm sorry, they're sick and demented. It's a human being. I don't care if it's your worst enemy. You don't kill him. You know what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying, Brad.
Okay, we done with that? I'm getting weird with you.
We sure are, and that ties into story number one.
Maybe we shouldn't do that then. Okay, here we go.
The number one.
Senator Eric Schmitt did a couple interviews yesterday that I have up on my website. One is from Newsmax, but the one we'll focus on more was on Fox with Larry Kudlow. And Kudlow went into talking, he introduced Schmitt by talking about the level of violence, how the left seems to be at least endorsing political violence. And Schmitt came on and was talking about this YouGov poll, which you've probably seen, Brad, which, YouGov is a group out of the UK, and they partner a lot of times with universities here in the United States, where folks on the political left endorsed, in some cases, using political violence against your opponents. And in fact, Schmitt quoted this poll as saying that about a little more than half of people that are progressive, that identify as being on the left, say that they would find the assassination of our president to be at least somewhat justified. Now, Schmitt's broader point, and he made this in a Senate committee hearing the other day, is that enough of this, well, both sides are violent. Schmitt used a harsh word to describe it that we can't use on the air, Brad, or the FCC would come after you as the station owner. But Schmitt said, let's stop doing this whole both sides stuff, this bovine droppings of that it's both sides that are violent, when we see that the political left today more people on the political left expressly condone violence against political enemies than do people on the right. And Brad, what I think was unique about Schmitt yesterday on Fox is that we're used to seeing Eric Schmitt being an upbeat guy. We're used to seeing him be rah-rah would be the wrong word about it, but we're used to seeing him being upbeat because I think that's who he is. And I think that Schmitt is genuine every time you see him on television or you hear him on the radio. In this interview yesterday, he seemed somber. And I think it's appropriate because I think he really feels authentically the pain of seeing what the American left has become. Like, this is not the left of the 1990s or even the 2000s, but this is an American left today that condones or endorses violence against political enemies. And I think if you watch even a minute of the Kudlow clip, you'll see that Schmitt has a different tone and demeanor. And I think it shows that Schmitt takes this really seriously. I would anticipate, Brad, that as we move on and as we as a nation start to get past what happened with Charlie Kirk, it'll affect us in many ways. But as we move on from it, I think we'll see a return to the Schmitt of old, where he's more upbeat, more optimistic. But what was marked about his interview yesterday was the somber tone, and it reflects the fact that Schmitt knows how serious this is.
Well, and you're right about that. He is normally an upbeat guy. I have limited experience with him because back in the this very station, but in a different format, I had him on once a month when he was state treasurer. I believe that's what he was. And I always had very good conversations with him. Always seemed like a positive guy. And any guy who can still be upbeat after losing his home to Colonel Griggs, and there's a reference that few people will pick up on. Do you know what I'm talking about, John?
I don't, Brad. What is this reference?
Colonel Griggs used to be on, this is probably, you're much younger than I am, but Colonel Griggs was a regular face and voice on television for, I don't know, decade and a half. Colonel Leonard Griggs with his big, some people would say his porn star mustache on television, telling us how we built this new runway at Lambert, and oh my God, St. Louis area will grow and will become this incredible center where you think St. Louis is good. Wait till we build this new runway, and oh, we're so sorry about all those people in Bridgeton who are going to lose their homes and all their businesses are going to get knocked down. Oh, but you know what? This is the cost of progress. And good old Eric Schmitt, who is a former resident of Bridgeton, is still upbeat about the fact that he lost his home to a porn star former Army guy, and who still referred to himself as Colonel Griggs, which I think is a little bit weird. If you're retired from the Army, and I know there's this thing they still talk about. I hear him on 97.1 all the time. The former senator, but they call him senator, and they call him
that's what you call. I still called governor when he was a senator. I called Ashcroft governor because he liked to be called governor, even though he was a U.S. senator. Brad, I don't think we've ever confirmed. I'm sorry to cut your anecdote short. I don't think we've ever confirmed that Schmitt's family's house was ever lost to the airport, though, right?
It was. I know for a fact.
Okay, because you've speculated on that, but I don't remember if that was actually true. I mean, Schmitt is obviously from Bridgeton, but I don't think he lived in Carrollton and had a subdivision bulldozed.
Well, it wasn't necessarily Carrollton. There were all sorts of other houses along there, a lot of businesses.
Okay. I didn't know that. I figured that you were just speculating.
Oh no. I mean, if you look at, I should show you this sometime.
I won't look at it. I won't care. I'll nod my head and say, wow, that's interesting, while I'm thinking about what I'm going to pick up at Schnucks later.
Okay, I won't even say what I have. Okay, are we done, John?
We are. We're ready for B block, which I have a feeling is going to be emotionally heavy like it was last year, Brad. No. I talked to you about something off the air
before we went on the air, and John gets always mad if I relay conversation. I can't really talk.
Yeah, when people share private things with you that are your friends, and then you talk about them on the air, I say, Brad, that person probably won't like it very much.
Oh, by the way, I have a note here I took just before we go to B Block. I have a note here, and you're not going to like what I'm going to say, because the last time I brought this up, you got upset, and we had a regular listener to the show who got upset about what I said. I have now 2 friends, both of whom listen to the show. One of whom is very well informed on politics, watches the news, really knows what's going on down with the state and federal stuff like that. Both made the comment to me, why don't we hear anything about Governor Kehoe? He's falling off the face of the earth. We never see or hear anything about Governor Kehoe.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, we talked about that. That's right.
This was just the other day. This was like last Thursday or Friday. This other person, this is the second person, said to me, I never see anything about Governor Kehoe. What's the deal? Does he never go anywhere? Does he never make any personal appearances? Does he never do anything? Does he just hang out in Jefferson City all the time? And you got most upset. Well, he's everywhere. He's here. He's there. He's everywhere.
Yeah. I would just say that folks that say that, Brad, probably haven't gone to. You can check out the governor's travel schedule for the week. It's publicly available. And I would say that just because they don't read the Southeast Missourian, and the only time these good folks hear about the Southeast Missourian newspaper is when I talk about it on this show, they might not see Governor Kehoe at a cattleman's event there, or they might not see him in Marshall, Missouri. But Governor Kehoe's all over the state. And by the way, I don't work for the governor. I'm just saying that to criticize Mike Kehoe, and Brad, unless I'm mistaken, didn't another listener to our show, after that conversation, text both of us and say, yeah, whoever says that Kehoe is not everywhere in the state obviously has no idea what they're talking about.
Yes, we did get that.
Okay, that's right. There we go. And would you say that person that texted us gets around the state of Missouri at political events more than roughly 100% of people in the state?
Well, John, I have some inside sources that you don't have. And
that's true. That's very true, Brad.
I have a very good source that said that Scott Fawn listened to our show, and he has the ear of Mike Kehoe, and he called up Mike, and he says, hey, there's this talk show in St. Louis talking about you, and relayed this, and Governor Kehoe said to Scott, well, Scott, what do you think I should do? And Scott says, Governor Kehoe, I think you should fly to D.C. and you should hang out with Andrew Bailey for a couple of days to get some finer points on media exposure as a public official.
Oh, there you go, Brad. And big shout out to the folks that texted you. And we appreciate them listening to the show. But in this particular case, just because they don't see a lot of mainstream media coverage about Mike Kehoe's travels doesn't mean, as I always say on the show, Brad, just because you missed it didn't mean it didn't happen.
Boy, my GPS clock is working real well.
It is. It's 7:25.
We have to take a break. We'll be back.